Hello, rollers, and welcome to your dystopian future brought to you by AI bots on all apps everywhere. On that note, I am your debatably friendly host. My name is Colin. I use they and he pronouns. And welcome to another episode of Classin' Up the Joint. I got ahead of myself. The part of the show where we ask... I also had something. I was going to go alphabetically, and I had it. We ask delightful people dull questions. There we go. We'll leave it there. I'll work on the E's for next time.
I appreciate you put that.
Yeah. As always, I am joined by a fantastic guest who will introduce themselves if they wish.
Sure. My name is Brandon. I go by Madness DM or Total Madness online. I'm a gamer who just makes D&D videos on how to DM, how to make your tables more fun, things you probably haven't tried. At least I hope you haven't tried yet. But yeah, and I got the opportunity to speak to this fantastic gentleman about things we love the most.
Thank you so much. I mean, mutual. And thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to dive into all the things for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, so leading us off then, the most important question, the super heroic origin story of Total Madness, where people have answered this in a number of ways. My thought has always been kind of like what was it that grabbed you? Did you have you been playing D&D since you were 10 with groups of friends in the basements, and it's been that way? Someone was like, I just started about a year and a half ago and I don't know what I'm doing. But
yeah, it's a mix of both, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids play D&D when they're young. They just don't kind of realize they're doing it, right? Like me and my friends would meet in my backyard pretty much every day after school. And it would either be a video game day or it'd be like an outside play game day, right? And so most of the time when we're outside, we find like the coolest looking stick we can find in the yard. And that would be somebody's sword. Do you know what I mean? And so we're always like role playing in some degree when we're kids. And I've had that same friend group for like pretty much my entire life. We still talk today.
Wow.
And so at some point, one of my other friends tells me that there's a game you can play, like I guess as an adult, right? Where it's the same thing you're doing out in the yard, but there's rules. You can't just have that one kid just kind of do everything.
Yeah, it's not the one kid with a stick does everything.
Right?
That's,
so I'm like, okay, I like a rule set applied to that. So I looked more into it. That's when, naturally, like probably most people in this hobby, really big like voice acting geek. So when I heard that there was a show, right, a podcast being played with some names that I knew since my childhood, I got interested and I started watching a little bit of it. And I'm the kind of guy where like if someone's doing something that I like doing, I kind of like, I can't keep watching the thing. I need to just go and do the thing, right?
Yeah.
So I saw, Critical Role do their thing for a little bit. And I'm just like thinking like, dude, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So the reason why I said it's kind of a double-sided story where like I played as a kid kind of, but mainly kind of recently got into it is because, fast forward, adulting happens and we're all like working our jobs. And I hadn't seen this one friend of mine since like 10th grade, right? And now it's probably like 6 or 7 years after that. And I'm in this, I'm at my job and I run into him and I don't know how he knows. I forgot he probably told me and I probably just forgot the story again, but he found out that I like D&D through another mutual. And he basically tells me that like, hey, we're looking for a DM. And everyone's probably got the origin story about how they became a forever DM, but that was mine. I was the only guy who knew how to do it and they wanted one. So I said yes. And the rest is kind of history. I've been playing for about 5 years straight every Saturday. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. I mean, and to still be playing and still be in touch with some of the people from 10 is...
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I mean, I love that for you because I was just trying to think for a second for myself, like that era of my life, there are people that are connected to my family that I still see, but I don't like my closest friend groups all happened like after college. Like it's all the people that I still play with, but the last decade, not the last from years.
Yeah. No, I realize how, I guess, lucky I am to kind of hold on to people for that long. Because I know it's not very common. I don't know. We just kept it real easy. We all like the same things. We didn't move too far away. That also helps too. People move away, right? So I'm still in
Sure.
the same neighborhood I grew up in, just a little bit down the road. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm curious because you said you recognized some of the names. Like, did you recognize some of the Critical Role cast or other actual play performers from their like video game or other voice acting gigs, like
yeah, Laura
specifically
Bailey.
following those names?
I mean, we
Mhm.
watched Dragon Ball growing up, right? So Laura Bailey's voice as Trunks was probably something that like I probably remembered or like I heard immediately
Sure.
that she was a part of this project, and that got me into it. And then, later on, I became a huge Last of Us fan. So
Yeah.
like all these things that I play, right? Sort of like, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, this is
totally.
where these people come from. So
Yeah.
for sure, yeah, we're all just like big geeks about like people who do these voices, and it's always been like I'm kind of more of a voice acting like appreciator than like a real acting appreciator. I love acting. Don't get me wrong, I'm a movie nerd as well, but something about voice acting has always been kind of special to me.
It's a whole different skill. When you have the visual medium, you get so many more cues of what's going on, and the voice acting, although you have sometimes animation or some things, in a podcast or like audio only format, it's really it's such a skill to be able to give your voice emotional inflections in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
that's it.
Awesome. Did you, so in this like 5-ish year time span, have you truly become trapped as the forever GM, or have you gotten to play? Has anyone else been like, oh, at least run a one shot so you can see what this is like?
No, that happens sometimes. I've had a couple. So like the other thing about the story that I just told is that the reason why they needed a DM is because it was 3 friends. They hadn't played D&D before. I think the one of them had a campaign before, but the other 2, they've never touched D&D. They just wanted to get into what their friend was into.
Yeah.
So I realized that like of all of them, I had like the most, I guess, like improv experience when it comes to just like telling a story on the fly. And for sure, after our first kind of campaign, everyone kind of wanted to try their hand at it, and so they did. I think at least each of them have ran their own one shot at least once.
Okay.
But no, man, yeah, I'm definitely the guy who shows up behind the screen pretty much every week. They like to try their own. I mean, the thing about what I love about, I guess, D&D or any tabletop is just like spinning the game to kind of be your own thing.
Yeah.
And so some of the stuff I guess I talk about on my channel is just kind of like finagling rules or changing the way something works to kind of just make it more fun for people who are at your table. And so we've done that. Like some of the rules that we use in our table are unrecognizable for D&D, right? They're probably even fit better for some other TTRPG, but making it ourselves is what's fun, right? And so when each of them DM'd on their own, we all kind of brought like their own unique thing to the table that we still kind of use on the table to this day. So I enjoy it though. The Forever DM, I really enjoy crafting the game that way and finding out, oh, this could work better like this. Like we have this. It's a bit complicated, but we have this cool like, knockout system now for like actually being a sneaky person. Because D&D doesn't really have a rule set for that, so we had to make our own thing. Like, hey, what if I want to just sneak up on a guy and like knock him out? And we're like, okay, so we built the rule set for that, and it's fun to us building that sort of thing.
That's so cool. I love. I mean, and I think it stands against kind of the stereotype and what most people say about the forever DM of the person who's just like, God damn it, fine, I'll do it again. I cannot find anyone to play for me. But to really enjoy it and to bring that kind of energy to your tables and then to the wider world through your TikTok and other channels. I think that's really special. Like it's not
the best. I feel most at home as a DM. I will say. I've been a player, and I've got. Don't get me wrong. Like many Forever DMs, I've got just a laundry list of characters that I would love to play in a campaign. But I feel most at home being in the Dungeon Master seat. Because I just like surprising them and seeing the looks on their faces when things don't quite go the way they want it to. It's kind of a joy for me. So
it's pretty great. It's pretty great. Well, so to dig into like the general things of it of DMing and running tables a little more, I think one barrier to some people playing is that like, oh, I don't have a DM. I don't think I could, and I think there's a perception that running the table is more intimidating and maybe more of a challenge than playing. Do you kind of two-part question, but starting with like, do you think that's justified? Do you think like is that a reasonable barrier to play, or one that people should maybe kind of get over and just go ahead and fucking try the thing?
A little yes, a little no.
Sure.
Like I would agree that DMing is intimidating because I mean, people aren't feeling these imaginary feelings for no reason, right? Like, there's tons of reasons to be the one that all the eyes are looking at. If you're not used to people staring at you, just asking, where do I go? What do I do? Right? It can be nerve wracking. But generally, right, the idea is that you find people to play with who are just your friends, you know? And I say this a lot. I pretty much say, like, I feel like new DMs should never worry about being a bad DM. I think bad DM is very different from new DM. They're completely separate things, right? Like, a bad DM, usually when you're a bad DM, it's kind of because you're trying to be, right? Otherwise, you're just an inexperienced one. And if you want to take it from, like, my tables, like what I just said about the rule thing, like, there's been tons of rules where we're like, I'm not sure how this works. And then we just kind of, like, have a discussion, like, should it work like this? And then we just kind of make it up on the fly and we let it go, right? And if you want to change it later, change it later. Like, no one's, like, you know, making sure that your game is, like, super rigid and follows a certain rule set. It's just you and your friends at a table. So if I would say anyone who's trying to be a DM, if you're cool with just sitting in a room and hanging out with your friends, I say jump into the seat, right? Because those are just the people that you like hanging out with anyway. Now you guys are just kind of playing a board game, right? I know I hate people referring to D&D as a board game, but you're just kind of playing a board game where you're reading the rules to your friends instead. And that's not that big of responsibility. Once you jump in the seat, it's kind of like, once you're in, the load kind of gets off your shoulders surprisingly quickly because everyone's there to have a good time. No one's looking to scrutinize you, you know?
I think ideally, yes. I think, the reason we see, I think the reason we see a lot of horror stories is people not doing this thing and not kind of realizing that this is a game that everyone should be having fun. And I feel like there's a distinction between, I agree. I think a bad DM kind of has to try to be bad. You have to try to deny your players agency, maybe railroad the story really hard, not even getting into the number of Hannah and I have discovered this, the number of horror stories that are distressingly and annoyingly about, another player or my DM assaulted my character without my consent. Like, leaving that out. I don't
understand why that happens. It's so wicked. That's what exactly. Like, you had to try to make that uncomfortable. Yeah. It's such a weird thing to do, but I hear that too, which is just blowing my mind. But I feel bad for those guys.
I think there's a big difference and a big gap between that and inexperience and whether or not you own your inexperience or pretend like you totally know what you're talking about.
It's true. Yeah.
Just kind of fumbling in the dark versus intentionally being a dick.
Yeah. Also, too, though, a lot of people think that it's the dungeon master's job to make the entire game fun. And D&D is so collaborative, and like the players have a big responsibility to make sure everything goes smoothly as well too, right? Like that one guy who would leave the party because it's what his character would do. It's just kind of making things hard for no reason, right? Like you're just as bad as like the bad DM who's just making things difficult for
your
people.
Character's got to figure out how to play nice with the rest of the team.
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting the moments when someone has to kind of say in character like why the hell their character is here. Yeah. If you're like, dude, you keep leaving. We're not mission or values aligned. Why are you here? You have to justify this. This is the game.
The prerequisite was making a person who would want to go on this adventure, right? So if you didn't do that, I feel like you just, you shut up with the wrong homework or something, right?
You're like, you should be at a different table where that character is there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. So I think in this vein, like also one of the things that I have noticed a lot, at least on your TikTok channel, is advice for players and GMs to smooth over some of kind of like the awkward or disempowered spots of there. In that line, I think a two-part question, is there one specific piece of advice that you would give to any and every DM ever?
Man, the questions were so easy until now.
I know, and part two, but we can come back to it if part one is a long answer. Like, is there a list, a checklist of skills that a GM should feel competent in your mind? So there's like the most crucial piece.
But I'll come back. Okay. Yeah, let me see what the most crucial one would be. It's so hard. There's so many things that would go well.
Well, I don't know if we want to pull the most crucial thing from the list, we can answer them in the opposite order if that would be more easier. But yeah, get into the really, really easy questions here.
I know. I think what I try and stress to because like many forever DMs, right? we are all writing our stories on the side. I hope that if we have a story to tell that we want to have full control over, I hope you're writing that on the side, right? Just what I'm doing, right? So I'm a really big nerd about like writing my fantasy stories. So with that being said, I think a really important skill for a DM to have is learning how to let go somewhere, right? Like if your player wants to proceed a certain way, it's a very good idea to find out how to make that happen, right? And as I said that, I literally just had another one pop into my head that I think I care a little bit more about, but I'll finish this thought.
Okay.
I think it's important for everyone to be telling a story together. It's very easy for DMs to get wrapped up in, this is my narrative. You're supposed to do this. You have to go here. This person's a good guy, not a bad guy. Like if that person's perceived as a bad guy by the party and they kind of proceed that way, that's just kind of the story you guys are all telling. It's kind of like, it's not even necessarily adaptive. It's adaptive storytelling, but it's not necessarily improv. It's just acknowledging that like I'm prompting you, but you guys are kind of filling in the blanks, right? You have to let them do that. I see a lot of DMs who, even my players have done this when they've tried their one shots, right? They get really afraid when like we veer off the beaten path, and it might even be like, oh, I want to go explore that mountain on the side, because that doesn't really happen in like D&D. Like no one's really just like,
it's not quite like the sandbox of solo RPG video games. Exactly, where like, right? I'm in this city and I'm just going to go to the opposite end of the map.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen too often, though. I'm pretty sure some people do try and do that. It's more of just like, I want to do this my way. Can I? Right. And like the dice are the ones who are answering that question. You're saying, gotcha, cool. Do you want to do it this way? Let me find out how to make that happen for you. Yeah. So that's probably the most important thing, because storytelling is very important for me in D&D. But on the flip side, when I was just saying that, what jumped into my head is that a lot of people don't play D&D for the story all the time. There's a lot of people who like the mechanics of the game. Sorry, I hit my mic. I don't know if you heard that.
All good.
So I would say, what's important for me, and it's not necessarily, I think it is a DM skill actually, because I see tons of new players who get into D&D or any tabletop, and when a problem is posed to them, they are looking at their character sheet for how to solve the problem. And I would say, like, I understand why you're doing that, but like, this is not that kind of game. That character sheet is what I use to translate your ideas into the game, right? So I'd rather, I want every DM to say, don't look at your character sheet, right? Like if I tell you how do you overcome this obstacle, just tell me how you would do it, right? And when you say what you say, I'm going to be like the Google Translate in my head and say, okay, they want to, I don't know, they want to stun this enemy and run away, right? So I'm like, okay, that's like a disengage, right? That's like maybe they want to use some kind of bonus action to like, I don't know, throw bell bearings on the ground, do something, right? Like I'm translating that in my head to their actions, but they have to solve the problem in their own mind first without using the character sheet, because sometimes the character sheet, it feels like a rule set to them, and they're just like, well, I want to do this, but I don't have that ability, so I can't. It's like, no.
You're like, no, you can still do the thing.
Yeah, tell me what this is.
Players, if I'm gonna see if I can like translate it to make it short. Like players should solve problems narratively, and it is a DM's job to solve the problem mechanically, or to translate that into the mechanical solution.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I very much agree with both of those. Yeah. I mean, I do think that the first one, like for me, I have tried very hard to cultivate the attitude that nothing is precious. Right. It is, if my players do something that totally fucks me over in my like storytelling, I need to be like,
right?
Oh, 100%. Just potential DMs out there. It will happen. Your players will fuck you over and do something you didn't want them to at least once. Always. But I think where one possible hangup is, like, I think it's okay as a DM in that moment to be like, okay, we need like a 3-minute bio break because I need to figure out what to do next now. Like, great job.
Some players love that too. They love seeing that reaction out of the DM. They're just like, oh, I surprised him. Like they get like a high off of it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally.
Great.
Yeah, it's like when you like, like master a video game level you've been like plugging away at, and you're like, oh, I gotta like take a break and feel good about myself for a minute, you know? Yeah. Okay. Love those. So the laundry list of list of skills that a GM should feel competent in, or at least feel like they are working at and improving in order to tell a good story.
I would say definitely improv, right? Like the first rule of improv is to say yes and never just no, right? So something we do at my table is like shops. I hate running shops, right? So whenever they walk in, they're just like, I had one, and this happened because one player a long time ago, they walked into a general store and it was in like a winter region. I never said what was in the shop. He just said, "Oh, I'm going to take that jacket on the wall." And I was like, okay, there's a jacket on the wall, right? Like learning how to just be like, oh, cool,
Sure.
right? And then just riffing off your players' ideas, right? Like learning how to take what they're saying and just like letting it exist and just like keeping the ball rolling instead of saying like, oh, well, this shop doesn't have a coat. There's no coat on the wall, right? Don't say no to their improv. Let it be and just keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. So that's a really important skill to make your games just go much smoothly. I would say the other one is just, especially if you're playing with new people, patience is super important, right? Especially if they're playing a spellcaster. Like, please give them a minute, right? Like, I kind of don't really engage in the tips that involve like how to make combat faster. And it's like, oh, if your player doesn't know what they're doing, skip their turn. Like, I don't really enjoy those rules because that'll just make your game take even longer, right? Because now they're not attacking the enemy. So it just seems like very counterproductive. But like patience is so huge for people because for a lot of people, RPing feels weird, feels awkward. You feel kind of goofy, right? So they get kind of like caught in their own like feelings and they're not sure how to interact with a certain thing. I recommend people always self-insert for your first character. Don't try to make this guy that's not you, right? Just be you in this fantasy setting. It makes it so much easier. So you get the idea of how to actually roleplay. There's so many things. I don't want to take up so much of your time, but I think the most important one is just improv and patience. They go so well for a new DM and it makes the game go so much easier.
No, I'm going to send this specifically to my friend who is terrified of DMing to be like, look, we have 4 great pieces of advice for you at least, plus everything else.
I hope it works out for you, man.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I really hope so. So you mentioned the slow pace of combat, and I do think that is something that D&D suffers from a lot. I think there is a lot of I've seen at my own tables people that do kind of need to, casters need to look through their entire spell list every turn, figure out what's going on. So are there things that you have brought to your table to speed that up at all? Again, respecting that like patience is absolutely key, especially with new players, but after 4 or 5 years, have you done some small homebrews or things at your tables to just kind of try to keep the pace going?
I pretty much like, as much as I love monster manuals and I love just diving into those module books and you see all the intricate details of enemies. Plus, I love reading those and looking at the art. I haven't used them in like 3 years. I just feel like it just takes so much time. If I want, I don't know, a goblin to be at the table, I'm like, I want this goblin to probably go down like 2 hits, right? So I'm not going to focus too much about like, I'm more focused on why that enemy is in their way narratively and not trying to be like, this goblin's going to really be a thorn in your side, right? And they can deal with it how they want. So I don't get mixed up on my end reading all the details, even if it's like a huge boss. I just give them, essentials. It's really hard to describe because I have this like flow chart on how I do things. But I do that. I don't focus too deeply on the mechanics side of it because at the end of the day, how they feel is most important about the combat encounter. But also, I think also things that speed up combat are kind of how you dictate it, right? Like sometimes, I know another popular thing people want their players to do is like describe how they attack somebody, right? Like, oh, do you like hit him in the eye? Do you kick him in the knee? Right? It's like, how specific are you with the attack? And those are fun and all, but like usually I try not to require that from them as often. They throw it in when they want to, and I think I keep trying to repeat like the urgency of the situation, right? And it kind of makes them get more excited and more. It makes them want to make a decision more erratically because there's like a tension happening, right? So I try not to have combat that is just A versus B, right?
Right.
It's like A versus B, but the water is rising, right? And so now they're just like, I'm not too focused on just like making sure this goblin's dead, right? It's like, how are we
Yeah.
gonna get out of here? I find that it puts their attention somewhere else, and we get more excited because like D&D, you really can't make the combat too fast, right? It's not really made to do that. So instead, I kind of put their focus somewhere else. I make something else very important, and the combat is there to just get in their way, but they're really trying to make something else happen during that combat, right? Like freeing a prisoner, right? Again, avoiding the rising lava or water. The room is filling with gas and you got to knock the door down, right? Like those are things that I put combat on top of, because combat is very just, do I hit? No? Okay, next, right? You want to make it more exciting. Sure. So I don't really try to make combat faster necessarily. I try and make it more engaging. Yeah. Because if it's engaging, you don't mind how long it takes usually.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also, engaged and excited players are motivated to do things a little quicker too. I think by doing that, it is the side effect, the not necessarily intention of a more engaging, more exciting combat for your players. Yeah, totally. So, kind of thinking about table makeup in some ways, like, you know, obviously, ideal world, play with your friends, play with them for 10, 20, 30 years, keep going. But what do you look for from your players, either once they are at the table or if you were to start a brand new table? People that you okay, some limitations. Brand new table, people that you do know, so they are people that are in some way connected to you. You can kind of self-select. What are you looking for in potential players? And what does your ideal table look or feel like?
Weirdos.
Yeah. Love that answer.
People who just do weird stuff and say weird things, right? It's always exciting, right? It's just anyone who has an imagination to just say something I didn't expect. That's like something I always love, and just in a friend in general, right? But also people who play D&D, right? Because I still remember these like one-off times I've played with people that I haven't played D&D for a very long time. They've done a thing that was so strange. It never left my mind. We referenced these people today in our game, right? We're like, oh, remember the sleepy wizard who like just poured sand in that one dude's eyes to like, he like cast light on sand and then poured. I was like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like trying to blind him. And I was like, it was so strange. This sleepy guy who like always is falling asleep, but the one thing he did that was nutty was that. And I was like, and that guy who played that character has always just been like a zany, weird guy. Right? He's always been a fun dude to be around. So I love people who are just kind of eccentric, I guess, right? I feel like anyone can get into D&D. It really just comes down to what you feel like doing that Saturday evening, I guess, right?
Sure.
And so weirdness is I feel like I wish I could explain it more, but I really like weirdness. But also just very simply, people who just like working together, people who enjoy kind of riffing off each other's stories, like this. I feel like this happens. You could be hanging out with like your friends at a bar and you'll like tell a story about like this funny dude you saw, and someone will be like, what if he did this, right? And then it'll get funnier, and then someone else will suggest something else and it'll get funnier, and the story just kind of builds up. The people who do that are great for D&D because that's kind of all the game really is, right? We're just saying what if all the time. So weird people
and escalating.
Exactly, right? Weird people with weird imaginations is my favorite thing to look for in players.
Yeah. It also, to me, it sounds like either you have self-selected a group of friends that all can do this, or it has grown organically with a table. Like good communication, right? Like I think one of the things that Hannah and I have noticed a lot and continues to be a theme in info dump episodes is like, oh, the solution to this horror story is either communicate better or break up with your table, like relationships. And it does seem like, at least, as you've mentioned, good communication has been a very important piece for your tables.
Yeah, exactly. It's good for any type of relationship, be it professional or like personal, all those things.
Yeah, totally.
Just come down to how well did you say what you wanted and say what you didn't want it, right? How did both people kind of come and meet in the middle? Which you think would be very easy to happen, but as we know, it's not a very commonplace for tabletop.
You'd hope so is the thing, and I have just learned that communication skills are not as widespread as I thought. I just, again, have opted into a community that we all believe in it and we all do it very strongly. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, no, it's fine. I'm off on a communication thing. Well, like, because also I think, you know, I would actually add that into like things that are good skills for a GM to master is I think an unintended or unstated part of GMing a game is functioning as an arbiter at the table, right? It's not only that you need to be the end of the rules conversation, no matter what system it is, like, you know, it needs to end with what you say, but also if conflict happens between players, between characters, or between you and your table, you've got to help navigate that and figure out what to do about it.
Yeah, that's the stickiest one because everyone takes like, I shouldn't say like being reprimanded, but like everyone takes like that kind of thing very differently. It's like such a person by person thing. So I can't even give you like, this is the be all solution to like telling a player, don't do that. That's bad, you know? It's so hard, but speaking up is never the wrong thing to do. Like at least saying the words, right? Like, we want something different than what's happening. It's like the first step. And I don't know. We wish to go smoothly after that, but
oh my god,
you know,
so
saying
much.
silent can kind of never help the problems. Basically,
no, it starts bubbling and building and festering, and you don't know if anyone feels the same. And exactly. I think there's something to just at the very least, everybody at the table hopefully having the ability to say, I have feelings about what is happening or what just happened. These are my feelings. Can we please talk about it a little bit? And hopefully we're all on board
after the game and a text message with other players. Like as long as it's said out loud, you know, it's better than never saying it at all.
Totally. Yeah. Have you had to really get into the weeds in, I don't know, either like rules dispute or any interpersonal conflict in games that I don't know. Like, I don't want to be like, tell me the story of the worst moment at your table and how you handled it kind of thing. But I'm curious if like,
we're very lucky. The chemistry at my table is like, so, you know what I mean? Like we've, a lot of us have known each other for a while, but like I said, after high school, there's been a big split. So it's kind of like a reunion of sorts, right? And we just kind of picked up where we left off. So it was kind of natural. I'm very lucky that we all have this dynamic where like, if someone's like, yeah, that was kind of lame, we can kind of laugh at it. No one feels like, oh man, sorry, right? We're just like, oh, okay. Like I won't do that. You know what I mean? It's very easy. But on our first campaign, there was this like deep main character syndrome thing happening with one of my players. And he was just hijacking the plot like so bad, and pretty much turning evil in the story where these guys are kind of not supposed to be evil because the other players like, stopped their party member. And I'm like, this is getting out of hand, right? So I think at one point, they go to like this tavern, and I love making spunky NPCs, right? Like maybe because I play Skyrim too much, where everyone just hates you, but like I love spunky NPCs.
Pretty great.
Like, you know, guy walks in and like he's just like, hey, what do you got? And the guy's just like, it just gives you sass, right? The player just like tried to kill the guy on the spot. And I'm like, okay, wait. I had to stop the table and say, okay, what's happening, right? Like you are just full blown in your villain arc right now. Is everything okay? And he's like, oh, I just want my character to do. And I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure it's working right now, right? Like everyone's just kind of chasing you because you're doing all this bad stuff. And he's like, all right. He's like, you know what? He told me, he's like, I got it. He found a way to kind of like redeem his character narrative. We just got back on track. But I probably let that go for maybe 2 or 3 sessions longer than I should have, you know, but yeah, it happens, you know, like it didn't have to be like a huge, like scolding moment. I just kind of stopped and said, this is getting wacky, but like, what the hell is going on? And they understood. They were like, okay, got it. We'll cut it out.
Yeah. Well, like most of us are adults, semi-functional ones at that. Like no one likes being scolded. There's just ways to approach it. I think that some of it comes with experience, but just to not be like, hey, you did a bad thing, stop doing that. But like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, literally.
Your character seems to be leaning into its villain, and like, why are we all okay? Yeah. But yeah, no one, not even children like being scolded. I don't understand when this became the accepted mode of parenting.
Exactly.
But
exactly, a question is good, because they have to answer it. You ask them an open-ended question, and then it usually kind of goes smoothly after that. I hope. I have to keep saying I hope. I realize the world's such a big place. So many different types of people. But communication, you just gotta practice it.
Yeah, you got to practice. Well, and I think it's there's also something to be said for find the table that is right for you in this way. Like and again, a bad DM might not be bad to some people. Some people might love when their DM has a very antagonistic relationship with their players and tries to kill them all the time and railroads them super hard. Some people want that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But,
listen, everyone's got a table for them, I guess, right?
Yeah. We'd think so. We would hope so. So, as a storyteller also, I'm curious if you have run or intend to run pre-made modules or campaigns, or maybe started there and really quickly was like, I can do better and move on from there.
We just recently, can I shout out one of my this new book I just found? So I don't know if anyone's I think it's another creator, Monkey DM. I'm not sure if he still goes by that name, but he put out a module, and it's I'm a huge Bloodborne fan, just huge disclaimer, right? So it's very Bloodborne themed. It's called Steiner's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt. And I love Eldritch creepy stuff. I love cosmic creepiness, and I like big werewolf monsters, right? So I'm excited to try this out. However, I've never run a module in all of my years of DMing. We've only ever done homebrew stuff. So what will likely happen is I do what I always do, and I just kind of pick the bits out of
sure
the salad that I like, right? And then but I think modules can be sick. I like what I read in them. They kind of give me inspiration, but I've never ran one. I like having this like super freedom. I know there's I know there's tons of freedom in a module, but we like telling our own stories, and
yeah, totally.
Homebrew just does that better for me, I guess.
And that I guess just even in that first, reconnecting with a friend going, we need a DM, and you seem to know what you're doing. Were you tempted at all to be like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, so let me grab something there? But it
absolutely not. I faked it the whole way. I was like,
hell
I can do
yes,
this. I got this, right? No, I was down. I told them bring it on, because I knew the attitude of one of the people.
Sure.
He's very competitive, at least in the beginning. That's the same guy that became the villain later on. So when I heard that person was playing, I was like, I remember this guy from high school. I know how he is. Like, yeah, tell him to bring it on, right? So it started out as him being like a super min-maxer, and he loves like trying to like dupe me. I made the mistake of giving them a morphable sword really early on. And they rolled on that 20 on a really important guy, instantly wiping them out of the story. So I was like, okay, never doing that again. So he loves surprising me. Like, he loves doing it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's I don't know. I'm trying to find.
Yeah. Well, what's exciting about this particular module, which will be linked in the show notes so people can check it out. But like after not doing one intentionally for so long, like what's exciting about this one?
Being just again like a sucker for like Souls things, and
sure,
it's the atmosphere, right? There's a new class called a Jaeger. So if you've ever wanted to play like a Bloodborne hunter style character, you can do that now, because this person has created probably the best Bloodborne fantasy you could live out in tabletop RPG. But there's also, if you just like very creepy visuals, like it's pretty ghastly, like the art in the book as well. Like it's very, if you like dark fantasy as well, which I adore, it'll stand out to you as it did to me. And I'm a super big visual learner, and I love looking at things and just taking inspiration from it. So when I saw the creepiness of the book, I'm like, oh, I definitely need to dive into this. So we all picked it up and we're reading through it. And if you like Eldritch horror, it's right up your alley. I say you give it a try.
Okay, awesome. Hello, rollers, and welcome back to your midroll. It is I, your debatably friendly host, Colin.
We've got something a little bit different for you in this week's midroll because our friends over at Unbalanced Encounters have a new season drop.
Fantasy Western! That's what we're doing for the new arc of Unbalanced Encounters, the only show that dares to ask, what if Dimension 20 was yeehaw as hell? If you're new to the show, all you need to know is that every episode will have you sobbing from laughter, the drama, or when I come to your house and break your knee. Go check out The Misfortune of 4. We got disaster, cowgirl heiresses, trickle-down generational trauma, nepo baby witches, and plenty of moose. Episodes run about 90 minutes and are highly polished by a team of mages working around the clock in our secret studio deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains. And if they complain, we simply break their knee. So head on over to unbalancedencounters.com or find Unbalanced Encounters wherever pods are casted.
Their season premiere is on October 28th. There's a cast listen-along over in the Discord server, as well as the chance to win copies of Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant and some super cool Unbalanced Encounters merch. No, now's the time when I can say I've been working behind the scenes on this upcoming season, and it is so good. It is dramatic, it is lyrical, it is poetic, it is gut-churning, it is heart-wrenching, it is heartbreaking. It is so many superlatives. And right now is also the perfect time to drop into Unbalanced Encounters' deep library of award-winning episodes and get stoked for the upcoming season. Join us on October 28th at the Unbalanced Encounters Discord for the listen-along and the premiere of The Misfortunate 4, The Wettest Whetstern. Okay, promotion done. Thank you so much for listening to our show, too. We love that you're here with us. And if you're enjoying the Roll Report, why not tell a friend or two? Or maybe even leave us those 5-star ratings and reviews on your podcast platform of choice. That would make us feel so super, super good. Don't forget to follow us on the social media things that we might or might not use at the Roll Report Cast on all of those things. And check out Unbalanced Encounters' new season. It's gonna be rad. Back to the show.
So, I mean, I think speaking of that, I want to lead into like the larger, your approach to storytelling in these games. Are there genres, I guess we're going to start with Eldritch Horror, that are really interesting to you? And like, what is it about that you want to bring to your own games?
I love just dark, deep mystery. I love the thing about Eldritch that like it's not really understood. It's really out of this world and we don't know what the heck is going on. I like these like cosmic formless beings that kind of do what they do. And there are people just trying to survive in the midst of that. Like I really enjoy that type of narrative. So in our homebrew world that we've built, it's called Shard. There is like a massive stone, like a moon kind of hovering over this empty ocean. And for no reason at all,
Sure.
just like send a beam down and just like demolish a piece of land. And so the people are trying to like find out if this is like a call from like a god they don't know. They're trying to like, some people are trying to worship this orb floating over the ocean. Some people are trying to destroy it. I just really enjoy that. Like, we don't know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
But we're trying to survive anyway, right? Some people are using it as an excuse to go and just do whatever the hell they want because we're all going to get blown up anyway, right? So
yeah, the world's ending,
cares
so
if I
have
steal
fun.
this heirloom? Exactly, right? I really enjoy that sort of stuff. I enjoy kind of like monoliths, things that can always be seen from anywhere in the world. A kind of really easy tool to make world building feel super real and tangible is to put something in your map that can always be seen anywhere on the, like if it's a giant moon in the sky or if it's an orb. Expedition 33 has that huge monolith that's always in view, right? Like if you just put something there that they can always look to, your players will interact with it too. I think one point there was like an argument that had happened between the party and one person said they're going to go off and just stare at the thing and just kind of contemplate life. And I was like, oh, that's like a cool visual. We all saw that moment happen, right? We can see this person standing in this like tree in this camp, just looking out at this like creepy thing he doesn't understand. And it just adds to world building. So I love mystery. I love just deep like misunderstood mystery and not knowing what the hell to do, but trying to figure it out anyway.
I feel slightly compelled to ask if you come up with a reason why that thing can always be seen. Like, right. So if it's a moon, it's sort of following the party around the world in this slight unobtrusive way where you're like, no, you can always, it's always there.
I'm glad you asked me this now because before it was a mystery, but my players have revealed now. it's don't hate me for this, but the world they live in is not round.
Fucking
and
awesome.
And it's because it's like a fragment of someone's mind. Like they're living in like a perceived reality by somebody else. So
That's
like it's
really
kind of like
cool.
the whole everything's a dream thing, but they really enjoyed it. I hope it's not like a huge like, oh, this is not real.
Yeah.
But they enjoyed it because it was real to them, right? Like they pretty much
Yeah.
came to the conclusion that said like, well, we've lived these whole lives. This must be real. It doesn't matter if it's a dream. This is who we are. You know,
it doesn't matter if it's someone else's dream. What we are perceiving as our own reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the conclusion they came to on their own. I was like, okay, good. They're not mad at the whole dream reveal thing. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, that's why they can see it, because it's not like a real planet. It's just like this flat plane of someone's ideas just culminated into a world. So
I love that. That is so cool. Yeah. Do you what are some of your like go-to inspirations or tropes that you love in your storytelling and in your games?
I love a good escort quest. Sometimes like I know people really hate the NPC. I kind of hate it most of the time too, but in my circumstance, when I had so many new players at my table, I kind of wanted to have someone there to kind of answer exposition questions for them if they ever really needed it. So, and they got used to having someone like that on their side too. So for the first 2 campaigns we played, I've always had like a DMPC that like kind of nudged them in the direction they wanted to go, because new players kind of don't know where to go, right?
Yeah.
So and we kind of
forget what quest they're doing and what's going on.
Exactly, right? So we kind of got used to having like a partner, you know, just kind of travel alongside them. So I like escorting things, you know, I like protect, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to say this right now, but like the protector president style gameplay. You know, I enjoy, you know what I mean?
No,
I enjoy
the trope is great. Present circumstances in the real world aside, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I enjoy that story trope. I also enjoy the good old MacGuffin. You know, there's a thing, but I'll tell you this here and now.
Yeah.
Because I've been cooking this recently, right? So, debut on an idea here, but like, we pretty much fully ban like 7th or 8th level spells at our table. We don't engage with those. I feel like they're way too overpowered, and we don't even go past like level 12. An idea I got from Baldur's Gate. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Level 12 is like probably the highest I'd ever want to go in terms of scaling an encounter.
Interesting. Sure.
Jesus, right? Like it's way overwhelming when you get to higher than that. So what I've considered is like 9th level and 8th level magic to be is just like God magic, right?
Sure.
So I think a cool trope I've been doing recently is like looking at a 9th level spell and making that the focus of the campaign, like Wish, for example, right? Like there are animes that are based on that spell, right? Dragon Ball is about gathering these MacGuffins to cast a wish, right? And now the campaign can be cool because like, what if villains are also trying to do this thing while the players are trying to do this thing?
Yeah.
Right? And we know that the villain's wish is going to be, he's probably said it out loud, I'm going to do this. And it's the thing they don't want to happen. So maybe they will have to get the things too and come to an agreement on
destroy
what wish
them,
they want to make,
find
you know?
a wish,
whatever it is, or like meteor rain, right? What if there's a villain who's like, I want meteors to just big Final Fantasy fan, right? What if there's Sephiroth trying to make a meteor hit the planet, and it's like, what do we do, right? Like we got to stop that. So I've made 9th level spells like the core like danger of these campaigns, and it's such an easy thing to do, you know? Like you could just take any 9th level spell and just spin it to be like, this is the cataclysm that is due to happen. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that is a really smart approach that acknowledges how difficult and how time consuming it can be for a full campaign to go from low level to 20.
Yes.
And that at that point you're like, I mean, you know, the trope, you're at that point, you're punching gods, like, but it's real. That is kind of the power scale that we were talking about, especially kind of with the epic boons and some of the new 2024 rules for classes.
Exactly, for sure.
Yeah. Have you or would you want to do just like a small 20th level one shot kind of thing just to see? Or are you like pretty anti high level, which is fine, to be clear?
I probably would like to try it again. So what happened in our very first campaign, I did the whole like you're playing superheroes in the beginning and then they kind of like lose to the villain, and I reset them back to level 1 as new characters. That was our first campaign's kind of gimmick. Cool. So I've seen them handle like level 8, level 18, level 20 characters.
Sure.
And it was a mess, but they were very new to the game. I'd like to probably try that again with their like 5-year experience playing D&D now and see what it's like. Yeah, I'll do it again. I try it.
Yeah. throw them, throw them against Tiamat just for fun or
Exactly,
something. I
right?
don't know. Yeah.
I'm down
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Amazing. Shifting a little slightly and like circling back to one of the other things that I want to say that is also our commonality, like and talking about the storytelling in video games. And I feel like there's a lot of similarity in between many video games, especially of the last like 15, 20 years or so, and D&D. But like what, again, kind of the two-part question, like what do you think those two kind of very different mediums have in common, and which kind of stories are each better equipped to tell?
I think video games are really good at just the power fantasy thing, right? Like everyone wants to know what it feels like to be the hero. For the people who are being, I don't know, like oppressed, right? You like walk into a nation and they're like the poor and the rich. Everyone wants to be the guy that comes in and just like fixes that situation, knows what it feels like to be the hero, right? So I think both mediums are great at that. I think D&D is a little bit better at that because a dungeon master can better adapt the world to the player's decisions and can have them react better to being these heroes in these worlds. It's very weird when you're playing a game and you've like just killed a god and like there's a bandit who walks up to you and they're just like, give me your money. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Right. You know, a little silly sometimes. So games probably aren't the best at doing that. But for me, I think what I liked about video games is showing, because I feel like everyone's got like this creative bug in them, right? They just don't know how to let it free sometimes. And what's cool about games is seeing visually and hearing, right? You get like all your senses stimulated with seeing somebody else's interpretation on like that power fantasy thing. And it helps inspire all of us, right? Like I've just mentioned a couple of games just now about how they can help me realize that like, oh, this can be like a narrative plot thing, right? So games are good at like kind of, in my opinion, kind of soaking up the world's view on fantasy and like how other people in the world interpret these like tropes and stuff. And D&D is perfect at emboldening your fantasy and making your fantasy feel more realistic and more realized. That makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think to me it does. And I think that speaks to, for me, I think the big thing about the way the storytelling differs so much is in its collaborative nature, right? Like we were saying, as a DM, I think about anatomical analogies a lot. And like as a DM, you have assembled the skeleton, but then every layer out from there is a collaborative effort, right? You might know, okay, my players are going to start here. That's my, toe bones, ankle bones. I want them to chase the 7 MacGuffins and have a climactic battle over the wish spell. That is the skull. And so I've got this journey, but then we're together filling in the layers of muscle tissue and fascia and eventually up to skin.
Where they are, what it looks like.
Exactly. And a video game has done a really good job of building an entire body and letting you riddle it full of bullet holes or stab wounds, as it might be.
I like how you said that. Exactly.
It's
a beautiful way to put that.
Thank you. I have my moments. What can I say? Shifting a little bit, and before we kind of like get into like the really, truly important questions, like I want to talk a little bit about kind of your approach to the larger RPG community, and your presence there. So at one point, you've done a lot of Twitch streaming, have had presences on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and TikTok, which now seems to be kind of, I want to say, doing good. But I'm curious how that arc felt for you, and if there are, if you have landed on a specific medium specific a form of engagement with people that feels best to you.
I mean, I was so surprised to hear you mention my Twitch because it's been so long since
we do our deep cuts of research.
I saw, I was like, whoa, holy moly. Thank you for prepping. Very professional. Very appreciate that. But yeah, I streamed on Twitch for a little bit. I've kind of just always wanted to create things. I think I get like a massive like mood debuff when one of my ideas just escapes into the ether and I forget about them, right? So I hope that I can fully just keep creating a thing, even if it's nothing that ever like anyone ever sees. Creating a thing has always been like a big drive for me. I do art, I draw, I play a little bit of music. You know, I always have to be doing something creative. So as far as just like Twitch was a place for me to, it's kind of, I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but like it's kind of low effort in terms of like just getting down, pushing the button and just doing a thing and creating kind of like a little mini legacy for yourself, you know? So that's kind of how I started. The guys that I met who eventually ended up playing D&D with me told me that they tuned in to watch my stream. And I'm like, no one ever watched my stream. Why would you watch my stream? So yeah, they did. And I kind of like took off from there. And I liked Twitch a lot, but something I started to realize about live streaming in general is that like, understandably so, that content can't really live forever. Like your stream kind of goes again, lost into the ether. If you don't save bits of it or just download every VOD. And I don't have the hard drive space to be doing that for all my streams, right? So after about 2.5 years of like streaming very regularly with like a 4-day, 5-day a week schedule, I started feeling that sadness again, being like, oh man, all my good moments are kind of like being lost into the ether. So I was like, I want to create an archive now. I want to kind of have something so that if anyone says, hey, what do you do? What do you like doing? I can just be like, this right here, look at this. Instead of being like, oh, you got to tune into me at 8 p.m. Eastern time and watch.
Yeah.
Wait
or
for something
you'll
cool
miss
to happen.
It's gone.
It's like a, you know, like I felt better to kind of build an archive for like my ideas and the things that I wanted to make. So start on YouTube a little bit and that was fun. And as much as I really like, I spent too much time on that platform. I love YouTube a lot.
Sure.
As much as I really enjoyed it, sometimes there's a thing you want to talk about that's not quite 15-minute length of a video. You know, it's like a really quick nudge you want to say. And I just kind of leaned into the biggest short form content platform at the time. So I gave TikTok a try to just start archiving my ideas for D&D. And yeah, I felt very comfortable because it was probably the first time I started noticing people who look like me making D&D content. You know, it's not very common on Twitch or YouTube. So when I got here, I'm like, oh, wow. Like I'm seeing tons of people who look like me who are also just huge nerds. And I kind of felt at home on TikTok for a little while because I was like, oh, this is great. Now I'm seeing the bigger spectrum of this genre, right? So TikTok has felt home for me because of that.
Yeah,
mainly.
totally. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's really interesting to me hear you talk about the kind of ephemeral moments there. Like as a performer in real life, this is something we deal with a lot where I'm like, what has happened in live performance is people think that you can get the same experience from a video. And so at least in the Bay Area, like people are not going to see live performance nearly as much. Like COVID really put some nails in that coffin. And so I would also argue kind of in the electronic contest, Twitch is an ephemeral live performance. And like the moments and the magic of live performance and seeing, you know, the streamer make a weird mistake in the game they're playing and something happen in the chat in real time. Like there's so many of these things that are exactly like going to a theater and being like, oh my God, I just saw that actor drop a line. And like it might never happen for the next month of that show, but like I got to see that moment.
That's cool. You know? Yeah. There's something special about being part of that small piece of history, I guess.
Yeah. And there's nothing, I don't mean to say there's anything wrong with like really designing content or designing performances that are meant to be recorded and like live in perpetuity. But there is something, I don't know, I was feeling this like interesting resonance between a live performance in theater and dance and circus and the similarity to streaming something where you do have to be completely present for that. And it's over and gone as soon as you're done.
Yeah. There's it takes all sorts is what a lot of me and my friends say all the time. I think both are super important to exist, right? Like I love going to live shows because of that nature you're just describing. You need both. I feel like if there was only recorded content, there'd be something that was like terribly lost in like the performative arts of just the world we live in.
Absolutely.
But if, you know, also there's the caveat of if we only had live performances, people like me with bad memory would just have a hard time recalling art, So you need both, really.
Yeah. And there's just, I think a lot about the fact that many experiences I've had are working really intensely on something for 6 months, and then we perform it 3 times. If we're lucky, it's a 140-seat theater, which means 420 people have seen this and no one else will ever see it again.
Yeah.
Because unless you're in a big company like Rep and doing, millions of people have seen Ailey dances, I've seen Avalon Ailey and do Revelations, right? Because it's that good, it's continual, it's Rep, they do it all over the world forever. But most companies aren't like that. You do one thing and then whoever's directing or choreographing moves on to the next thing and it's gone. And you hope that a couple hundred people have maybe seen that thing. Mm-hmm. And that's all we get, Yeah.
There's a beauty in that, but I feel that. I feel that potential despair.
Yeah, totally. I there's a question that I'm trying to articulate without seeming like an asshole about how much wider spaces outside TikTok are for D&D content. And I don't even know what the question is beyond I find that to be annoying and frustrating and kind of a tragedy. And I think maybe my question is you have said that you've noticed these things. Have other spaces felt unwelcoming in the way that TikTok was like, this feels more like home. I have people that I relate to much more and people that look like me. And I don't know if that's still like kind of a weird way of phrasing it. I
think you've done fine phrasing it to me. Not extensively unwelcoming, I guess. Like I've never felt like someone's ever walked up to me and to my face said, "We don't want your content here." But I do see the trends that happen on other platforms. And I know that I don't align with the traits of that trend a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I kind of see who blows up big here. It's still the same on TikTok to some degree. You know what I mean? Like I know what people like to see, But
and I think there have been a number of very public instances of fucking racist algorithms. Honestly, I'm not sure how else to put it. Of TikTok explicitly suppressing content not made by white people, which feels morally reprehensible and everything that is wrong with the world. But
sure, it's disappointing. I think the only thing I can say about TikTok is that I hadn't seen any of those voices anywhere else, you know? So I do think that with a completely unbiased algorithm, we'd see growth all over the place with so many other like in the mainstream, there's so many Black creators that kind of come from nothing and build themselves up and build legacies, right? Like if you just look at music in general, it's like massively operated and occupied by Black creators. So we know that people like it. We know that there's potential. I shouldn't even say potential. There's just a very, very common correlation. You know what I mean? With just how creative we can be in all these spaces alongside everybody else in them.
Yeah.
So it's the needle's moving so slowly.
Yeah.
I feel like if you can imagine the Guitar Hero performance meter where it's green, yellow, red, TikTok is somewhere yellow, green, or the other ones kind of feel much closer to the orange red section.
Sure.
So I find myself a bit more comfortable here. But everything can kind of do better being more inclusive.
Absolutely. 100%. And a lot of people could serve to do is better too. But
sure,
we are not an inherently political show. We just happen to skate along the edges of it here.
Yeah, but it's hard to avoid sometimes, It's just, but I get it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, and that makes a lot of sense. I think, again, self-selecting for some of the communities that we most want to be a part of. One thing that's happened for me is just trying to find the communities that are values aligned, where people that look like me are trying to, on some level, either take a step backwards or just actively be like, no, look at all these other creators that don't look like me. Go find their stuff. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And those communities exist. And I'm grateful for them. I just wish there were more,
Appreciate that, man. Thanks, Colin.
Oh, I mean, 100%. Yeah, it is. I have a lot of feelings that I'm not going to necessarily just like spout into the ether about, I guess, societal history and how we've gotten to the point where we are is maybe the short way of saying that,
That's there's no podcast long enough for that, right?
Right? Oh, God, no, not at all. As kind of a slight tangent, but like a kind of wrapping this general section of thing up. I'm curious your feelings about actual play versus home tables, things that are recorded or streamed or otherwise made for consumption, D&D or RPGs that are made for consumption versus made for yourself. Because if I am right in our research, I think that is not something that you have done, or at least not done a lot of yet.
Yeah, I haven't done at all, so don't worry. Your research is
all right.
You're
doing good.
Very thorough still. But I think a lot of my hiatus has been attributed to us kind of trying to build that and realizing that because like we have a real life table, we don't do Discord. So making an actual play in real life is so much work, so much money, so much like troubleshooting, and it's a huge headache. But I absolutely would like to try this. I feel like for anyone who's wanting to do an actual play, I think the most important thing is, right, like there's something very intimate about D&D, especially if you're playing with your very close friends, and you don't want to destroy that by turning it into like this very commercialized experience. Some people might feel disconnected, realizing that like they're kind of safe, quiet, private space is not so private anymore, So I would just be careful with that. Make sure that everyone who wants to do or everyone at the table really wants to do this. Yeah, it might be 100%. Hard getting there because some people probably don't want to disappoint their other friends by saying, no, I don't want to do this. So it's very hard, but you kind of have to make sure that everyone feels comfortable to give you the most honest answer they can, because that was something that did scare me really on. And this reason why I've taken so long to make an actual play podcast is because there was something very special about us just kind of as friends meeting up every Saturday, relaxing, people kicking their feet up, just like chugging beers or whatever and playing the game.
Totally.
And now there's this thing where there's this attitude where we're like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, you kind of have to like sit up better, talking to the mic.
You have to be professional, whatever that means.
So like totally. a bit of the very calm aspect changes. But we spent enough time. We took a little bit of a break. So we spent enough time away from D&D, and then now we're just like, absolutely, let's get back in there, and let's see where we can go with it. There's been tons of moments. We have note takers. I'm not a note taker. I'm very famously saying like I can't take notes. Like whatever
as
happens,
a DM,
happens.
Even as a DM, not just as like scribbling quickly behind the screen. Wow,
I cannot do it. I cannot. I'm so just tuned into the. It's like what it is. When I'm on vacation, I never take pictures. I'm so tuned into the moment. I can't stop and be like, oh, let me. Like I can't just stop and be like, oh, let me. I'm just like, if you guys remember this NPC's name, great. If you don't, he has a new name in the future. Like I'm not even that tied to it, which is not very actual player friendly. I hope that I can kind of get onto that later. But
I mean, that's what the note taker's got to do that work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just divvy up the labor a little bit.
We're super lucky. We have a really good note taker. Like, it almost sounds like a story with like the notes that he takes. So I don't know how this guy. He's a very impressive guy in general, but he's gonna see this, and I don't know. He might message me later. But anyway, they're still not quite enough. Like he can't get everything. And what he also does, he takes notes from his character's perspective. So sometimes he's not there for certain moments, right? And so we're just like, man, wouldn't it be sick if we recorded that cool moment? Like we've been wanting for the longest time, just be able to pull up an episode and be like, yo, this was sick. Look at this moment that happened, Yeah. And I've been wanting to document them the same way. So we all decided like actual play is the next step for us. And we want to take it to the big screen at some point.
That's super cool. Good luck. I don't know. Like I having dabbled, like the Roll Report recorded 18 months of a campaign before I was like, this is the most expensive thing we're doing right now.
It's so much.
And it does not have appreciably better listenership than other things. And so we're going to take a little break. But yeah, I will be so excited. I mean,
Thanks,
we'll update show notes when there is a link to the Total Madness actual play. It's going to happen.
We are trying to also do something, because that player who takes great notes, they're from the UK. I'm from New York, so we play in New York, but they're from the UK, and we do Discord him in for sessions. So we're trying to do like a weird hybrid actual play where like the Discord guys recorded and the actual tables recorded. But the reason why I would like to do this is because there's so many people I've met over the years through content creation that want to try D&D. And I would love to just shoot invites to people, much like how other actual plays do that, where they're just like, oh, the guest today, you know?
Yeah,
who knows, like maybe I'd love to see Colin at my table at someday.
I would be delighted any day, at any time. 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so we want to make that a reality. You know, we want to make it seamless as possible for the guests and for us as well, because there's a lot of work. In my small apartment with just a living room and a bedroom, like we're trying to make it happen, you know. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I cannot wait to listen and be able to watch. I am so excited for that.
Yeah.
On that note, the most important questions I can ask. Brandon, what are your favorite character class and subclass, or subclasses, classes, as it may be?
I'm going to go with what has been my longtime favorite first.
Okay.
I feel like it's the most worthy of the answer of this question. And I am through and through the fancy sword. Maybe not even fancy sword, right? I like the rugged hero kind of, right? But paladin, hands down, is just it's my power fantasy, like ideal power fantasy. I love playing the noble guy who's got to do things that are out of his best interest, but he's upholding an oath that's kind of not his or hers. I play tons of different characters, right? I love that. I love that honor bound, that duty bound guy that just kind of has to keep doing really just shitty things I probably would rather not do, but he's got to uphold that oath, you know? So as far as subclass, vengeance is probably the coolest one. I'm a big note for tragedy, so I love when something is plaguing this person's past that they kind of want to right in their own way. I actually, everyone's probably not going to like this because I get flack for it every time I say it, but humans, my favorite race in D&D, but hear me out.
Yeah. Okay.
It's because I think the best storytelling comes from adversity, right? So I like not being able to see in the dark. I like trying to figure out how to get through a dark corridor and not just saying I have dark vision. I like not being able to fly. I like not being resistant to fire damage. I like having these real fears, these real challenges, and having to figure them out narratively instead of just looking at my character sheet and saying, oh, I'm good now. I can just do this.
Do you go for like the normal or the variant where having
I like the extra feet, so I'll go for the variant.
No, I love it. I mean, honestly, at a certain point when I was like, these are the kind of the coolest things in the game, I just started telling everyone at my tables, like, you get a feat when in character creation, whether or not you're a variant human. Like that's just good role play.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I appreciate that for sure. I think some people have told me like, oh, it's like. Because there's this weird thing with gaming in general, also tabletop, but just like, oh, if you're not working hard enough, it's not fun or it's not cool, right? Like, for me, it's not a cool thing. I really just like dealing with problems. Like, I like when a DM's like, here you go, deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Right. I'm like stressing a little bit. It's so fun to me. I don't know why. If you think I have no stress in real life or whatever, but maybe it's where I feel at home, right? So I really enjoy just playing the character that doesn't have all the bells and whistles. I like having that rusted sword, like I said earlier. Maybe it's not a fancy sword. I like having that rusty armor that's all cracked and battered, you know, showing someone who kind of gets by.
It's like rusted shut and you can't quite get it off.
Yeah, you know, by the skin of their teeth, they get like overgrown hair, you know, all that stuff. Like they're not looking the best. As much as I like the cool characters who are like super fancy and they glide when they move and, you know, like, that's cool. But I like the struggle. Struggle is so good for storytelling, in my opinion. Yeah. So paladin, human.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I go usually.
My housemate once described storytelling as you chase your main character up a tree and then you throw rocks at them. And I was like,
funny.
Wait, hold on. He's like, well, no one wants to just see the guy climb a tree and then get out of the tree. Like, no one. That's Disneyland. No one likes that. So you got to throw the rocks. And you have struggle and conflict and adversity, and overcoming adversity is the key, I think, and the center of so many stories and myths and every art that humans have created, you know.
For sure,
I do want to add, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, you first.
I do want to ask how you feel about the 2024 Paladin and the changes or updates, if you have gotten to take a look versus 2014.
Something?
Mm.
Like I said with earlier in when we were like having so much fun making our own rules, when the 2024 thing came out, our whole table just kind of looked at it and just said, all right, I mean, like it's cool. I'm sure people are gonna like it. We were like, we already have our system. We like what we got. I've not read too much about any of the new subclasses. I'll be completely honest with you. I've heard some things that were cool, some things I didn't care for, some things that were like, that's a strange change. But we probably won't engage with it, so we're not concerned.
Sure.
With it, so.
Love that. Yeah. I will. The short version I will say is, Smites got horribly nerfed. They are a spell. It's not a thing.
Yes, they're spells. They can be counterspelled, right?
Really I think they probably could be counterspelled, and you can only do them once a turn.
Wicked.
Bard's Capstone, Bard's 20th level, finally is actually something and not fucking useless.
Okay.
I am really appreciative that across the board, every class at 19 gets an epic boon now. And so they've like done some higher level things.
More epic things?
Yeah, right.
For level 19 character.
And like, and at the same time, I don't know, we've done a full series kind of diving into the changes and updates for all of them. And my
Did they change how exhaustion works too?
God, that I don't remember. I think so.
I feel like it's just like stacking -1s to your D20 rolls now instead of like the things that it used to be. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
No, I'd have to look it up, but
really love exhaustion as it is because we use it a lot in our game.
Yeah.
So if it just turns into -1, -2, -3,
no, it makes so much more sense as in the 2014 rules where like you start with disadvantage and then you eventually can't move / die.
Yeah, we love
like
that.
That's
so much
accurate.
on our table.
Yeah. Oh, and the 2024 counterspell is fucking stupid.
Oh no. What did you do?
The change is that now as a caster, I cast counterspell. My target has to make a Constitution save against my spell save DC. So to me, that was like, oh, as a player, that means my DM is going to be making con saves all the time, which means my DM is rolling more dice, which means I'm not, which means why? And also now there's no point in upcasting counterspell.
I'm gonna fudge it.
It's one of the things that I've just like, I continually say every table that I've run, I'm like, we're playing the 2014 rules because I don't like it. I have heard one perspective from Chris Hutton of TTRPG Insider of like why that change might have happened and something good of the new version. I'm like, okay, I hear you and no. Just
I
not
love that.
Yeah.
Hear him out, but then still stand your ground.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I do love Paladin, but recently I feel like, I hope this doesn't paint me as main character syndrome, but I really enjoy charisma classes because recently Warlock has been a very favorite character, a very favorite class of mine as well. On that laundry list of characters that I would like to play in a game someday, there's like probably 3 or 4 Warlocks on them, just exploring all the subclasses. I think like everything narratively a Warlock can be so fun to do. I kind of want to play a campaign where everyone's a Warlock under the same patron. I have like ideas that I'm playing with that.
Interesting.
I don't know if the players would like to all play the same, type of thing, but like the patron just
can they multi-class, or does everyone have to go like straight Warlock the whole way?
I think it could. Yeah, I think they could multi-class, but I think it'd be sick if they're kind of
really
serving someone, right?
Yeah.
And they all have like a common uniting entity.
Well, and who's to say that entity is not lying to some people about why they're doing the thing and what they're actually after?
And you understand. You see, you got the weirdness that I'd be looking for at my table.
Oh,
I think you get it.
I think about it as like I have 35 years of fantasy and sci-fi reading. I have come across almost every trope that is known to those genres and many more. And at some point, I'm like, oh, right, that thing. And I'll grab it and be like, I'm going to bring that in my game. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You get it.
And I think also to kind of, tie this all the way back to the beginning, like tying it back to DMs both not being precious and being the ultimate arbiter of the table, right? for that, if you want to use the 2024 counterspell, I might not enjoy your table, but that's fine. It's your decision. You know, if your players all want a warlock, or if you want them all to be the warlocks, like that's your game. That's the thing.
Like every DM should sit down with that rule book and just talk to every player and says, do we like this rule? Yeah, no. It gets the axe. Do we like this rule? Yes. Well, okay, cool. You know?
And I don't know how many times I've said this, but like in the beginning of the book is these are guidelines, DM's word is law. And how many people seem to willfully ignore or forget that.
Yeah.
And really focus on the actual literal written word as being the end all be all of judgment on these things.
I would hope that all DMs, though I know it doesn't always happen, but I would hope that all DMs have every player's like just fun in mind. So every change that they would like to make is like aiming for everyone to have fun. Sometimes players don't understand that adversity is good and they want all these bells and whistles, and they realize that now that they're super strong, the game's kind of like, oh, well, I can just do this and everything's over now and all my problems are done. You get bored really fast, right? So like just a PSA, right? Like us Dungeon Masters, we're making the game hard because hard equals fun. Okay. Just you gotta trust the process.
We have chased you up a tree and now we will throw rocks at you.
Yeah. We don't hate your character. We don't hate you. We just hate when your character has a smooth ride.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's the point of the game, I think.
I agree.
Amazing. Wonderful. On that note, I think, Brandon, thank you so much again for joining us. Where can people find you on the internet? We will have all of these links in our show notes, but also so they can hear it.
Total Madness on TikTok, though I'm not too sure. I'm like such a boomer when it comes to social media. You can probably find me easier at madness_DM. I tried to change my name. I'm very bad with this, but let's go with Total Madness on all my socials. Great. That's what I would like to be called everywhere. So when everything's said and done, you'll find me under that tag on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. And hopefully we have some AP content for you guys in the future.
Yeah, we would love that. And of course, as always, you can follow The Roll Report on our socials, where you might get hints and sneak previews of exciting new guests coming to Class and Up the Joint. We are at The Roll Report Cast across all the platforms you can find us on, except the ones we don't use. And if you really like what we are doing and you would like to support what is happening, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Roll Report for as little as $1 a month. Brandon, thank you so much. What a pleasure to have you. Yeah.
No, I loved being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. This for me has always been the point of the thing, is to meet other cool people and get to spend time nerding out about the stuff that we are super excited about. So it is my pleasure. Yeah. And listeners, go roll some dice and talk to your DMs. And DMs talk to your players. Key for all of us.